today's show started. Let's start this work week here with all of our hot takes on just about everything. Let's bring in our Sharon Raja on this Monday. Come on in, Sharon.
Happy Monday.
Happy Monday.
We made it.
We're back.
We're back. They come so quick.
That's my hot take. Yes. It's like a 3-day weekend. Where do we vote? Who do we sign?
Right, exactly.
Let's go to the balcony. The woman who coined We Listen and We Do Judge our show, Miss Diva Chef herself, Elise Harris, in the house, and political strategist who once acted in a History Channel TV show, Luke Ball. Luke, come on down. I didn't know that.
I did.
What show was that?
It was 6.
Six shows?
SEAL Team 6.
Gotcha.
But I was an extra, so I was in the background, but I got some nice footage. I got some nice airtime.
Yeah, you got some airtime?
Yeah, but I'll get more airtime today.
Oh, for sure. We got a lot of hot takes coming on. So let's get this started. Luke and Sharon, as you know, it's Monday. Let's get it spicy here. Let's bring down Elise and switch it up. But before that, 202-895-3200. That's the number. Give us a call. A lot happened this weekend. A lot is happening this week. Anything you want to talk about, call us. I'm sure we have something to say about it. Okay, let's get the show started here. A judge in Fairfax County weighing whether or not to include the video-recorded statement of a 4-year-old in her father's trial. He's accused of killing her mother and another man with the help of the couple's au pair. The Washington Post reporting that prosecutors in the case want to use the video in which authorities interviewed the young girl before she learned her mother was dead. Prosecutors say she corroborated the husband and au pair's claims that an unknown intruder had entered the home. The husband and the au pair telling police that the intruder fatally stabbed the mother while the girl was in the basement, and the husband and the au pair then both shot the other man. A judge must now decide whether to allow the child's statements to be played during her father's trial without requiring her to testify or cross-examination. So, Sharon, we'll start with you. Should they allow this?
This is so tough because this case, first of all, is so disturbing. We've covered it extensively here on FOX5. But listen, this is a 4-year-old who was caught in the most traumatic situation. When they interviewed this girl, she didn't even know, sadly, that her mother had died. Allegedly, the father and the au pair had given her a story like, hey, there was an intruder. She corroborated that. I just don't think that this interview means much, because if you can't cross-examine this girl, which I don't even think, absolutely not, she should not be, and more further traumatized, then I don't really know what this video really helps or is fair. So I would say no.
Yeah, I think children generally are left out of trials, not just for the emotional side effects, but also they're not reliable witnesses. There's expert testimony on that. However, I think the fact that this is upon entering the home, seeing her, that video may give the government some insight, and ultimately the judge will decide, but it is a tough call.
Yeah, and you brought up a very good point, the cross-examination part. I mean, just imagine what would happen there if that were to ever come across. And I also want to know, was she coached strongly beforehand and then retracted it later? There's so many different sides of this. It's heartbreaking because if it weren't real life, it would be the premise of a Law and Order episode. Yeah. It's just heartbreaking that a 4-year-old was drug into this, and that's something they're going to carry the rest of their life.
Yeah, this case is wild all around, and clearly when you hear what had happened based on the government there, Elise, there's just too much to go around. But now the child, unfortunately in the middle of it, whether she likes it or not, and now potentially part of this trial herself.
Yeah, listen, Sharon's take is the take. First of all, dragging a 4-year-old into this nonsense is not only traumatizing, it's very heartbreaking. And the fact that you're going to try to present this evidence with zero cross-examination. And then I have questions. How much time has passed since this interview? How much is she going to know? What is bringing this up and putting this back on Front Street going to do to the child that's involved?
It's tough,
no way.
And I think what's even crazier here in this, I think, is more like technicality. Like the child's corroborating the alleged made-up story, right? So, like, the government already thinks this isn't a made-up story. I don't think you need the child to invoke the emotion there, potentially, of the jury, which I imagine that's what they're looking to do. It is. It's a lot, and I think we all know there were children in the house. I think the jury can make up their own mind on that. We'll see what the judge decides, regardless. Okay, let's move on. Some federal workers continuing to report the 5 things they each did, despite the man behind the request, Elon Musk, no longer being part of the current administration. Axios reporting that an employee at Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which has been largely gutted by the White House, had most of its work halted. They said they hadn't been told to stop sending them in, but stopped anyways, telling Axios, quote, got tired of saying I hadn't accomplished anything because we haven't been given any work. Meanwhile, employees of the Office of Personnel Management, they're encouraged to do it. The folks at NOAA, they must send it in as well. So, Luke, I mean, how ridiculous is all of this? Just what do we even think at this point?
Well, as a Republican, I didn't have a big problem with the federal government reporting on the job that they had done in the previous week. However, the execution, I believe, was flawed. And from all of the reporting, Susie Wiles, who is a friend of mine and the White House chief of staff, was blindsided by the whole thing. And so to circumnavigate the chief of staff and impose this without any sort of enforcement on the back end, I think probably wasn't the best situation. There just needs to be maybe a little more guidance now that Elon Musk is gone.
Yeah, I mean, this department now, what are they doing?
Yeah. Yeah.
The guy's gone. The so-called task has been done.
Well, there's no leader. There's no leader right now. So somebody needs to step in and fill that void. Somebody needs to make sure we get back on track. Because, as I said, I don't think it's a bad thing that federal workers report what they were doing, but the execution came from different points in the government that were saying, hey, let's do it this way, and then maybe there was a conflict and said, no, let's do it the other way. So that was confusing, and I don't think it was well executed.
I think a lot of these government workers right now are also in a state of flux. They don't really know what to do. You know, their departments have been dismantled. They're trying to figure out what is their workflow. You know, a lot of people are saying they're taking on other people's workflow. So I don't necessarily mind the email thing. I think, though, when you threaten that if you miss one, you're going to get fired,
sure.
I think it puts a sense of anxiety that's already among these federal workers that's unnecessary and not fair. And who's regulating this? So I don't like it. I feel like they already have a lot to deal with right now, figuring out what's going on with all the layoffs.
What a mess, Elise.
Yeah, totally agree. As someone who is super hyper productive, I love the idea of like email accountability and having to be accountable for what you've accomplished during the week, especially with the government, right? Because it's our money. We want to know what y'all are doing to better our community. However, who are we emailing? A ghost? Like, they need to get it together and real fast.
And also, like, I could write a million things on email. Doesn't mean I did them. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. So are we cross-checking to make sure that these things are happening?
Yeah.
The ghost got laid off, actually.
Yeah.
They got
There's no
dosed.
staff for that.
I mean, the fact that we're making jokes about this just tells you that this is not just execution from the beginning. The idea, there are better ways to cut pork and spending, and this was not it.
Sure.
All right, let's keep moving and see exactly what else is to come. But D.C. officials working on a plan to gain control of the federally owned Rock Creek Tennis Center, expanded into a sports complex. That's at least according to WMAU. They say that they should get the deal. The city hopes to work with Mark Ein, the businessman who owns the City Open tournament based at the tennis center, to help upgrade the existing facilities, to add more. Still unclear how the deal would be structured and who would pay for the work, the city, Ein, or both. We did speak to Mark Ein on the DMV zone. He joined me a few weeks ago, and we talked about what the future could look like. Any chance that you're getting to the point where you may have to start looking at a bigger venue for such an important tournament?
You know, it's such a good question. It's something we think about all the time. That location's really special. When the tournament was started in 1969, they asked Arthur Ashe if he'd be part of it, and he said he would as long as it was put in a public park. Nice. And that's why the tournament is in Rock Creek Park, right there. But the point you make is right. You know, as the crowds have gotten bigger, the tournament definitely, you know, the demands on the site have grown. But we're really optimistic that we can find a long-term solution, hopefully right where we are, and continue to grow the event and have it accommodate as many people in the community as we can.
Okay, so clearly already looking to see how you elevate the situation, because this tournament's huge. This is a big deal.
And I love local government and private investment working together, because in the community, they know what's best, and being able to invest directly in the community and having D.C. handle it, I think is going to be beneficial in the long run, because ultimately that's where the local investment is, to raise all of the economic prosperity that having events like this might bring into the community.
So who foots the bill?
Well, it depends, because if it is a private investment, then they're going to get money from it. It's going to go back to the taxpayers. It's also going to go back to that private investment firm. So if they work out a solution where everybody benefits instead of the federal government having complete control over a local project, I think that's the best goal.
It sounds a lot like the RFK Stadium site right now.
Yeah.
That's a big mess right now.
A lot of cooks in the kitchen, and you know, well, it's DC, right? So it's DC, but it's also federal.
And they got the government, the home rule over with Congress too. So it involves a lot, but the fact that there's initiative at the local level is something I'm happy.
I think just no one wants to pay for it.
That's it.
in all directions. Listen, this facility needs upgrades. I love the investment in it. A lot of professionals are saying that they're going to move this tournament. So I think that would be absolutely detrimental for the area and the region. So I think if they got to figure it out, I like the idea. funding it, I think I agree with Luke. You know, private partnership and maybe some donors.
I don't think Mark Ein would take it outside of D.C. He's behind the D.C. Castle, and he's been here in D.C. for the onset. I even think, you know, how we saw the Caps and the Wizards potentially moving to Alexandria, and there was that Potomac Yard flirting there. I doubt that would happen, but to your point, someone's got to pay up, and nobody wants to pay either. So who's going to foot the bill? Right now, D.C.'s got a lot to pay up if they want that RFK Stadium.
If someone doesn't step in, and it's, I guess right now under the federal government's control, at least to some extent, it's not going to get any better at all. Somebody has taken initiative to step up and say, I actually want to lead this, and that's what I'm championing here right now, making sure someone actually takes it up.
You know, there's a lot of people talking. Hopefully they make the move, because that's always the problem. A lot of talkers, not a lot of action. All right, let's move on. A wild side in Virginia, an alligator found outside of a Fairfax County motel this morning. Police telling us this happened just after midnight. A caller reported seeing the gator outside their motel room. Here's that body cam footage. Officers eventually figured out the owner was transporting the gator from New York to a zoo in North Carolina. Virginia state code prohibits the possession of certain exotic animals like this dinosaur that you're looking at right now. They're not native to the Commonwealth, so the gator and the owner were safely escorted out of the county. So they got a police escort out of Fairfax is what I'm hearing here. Here's a bit of that body cam footage when they arrived on scene.
Damn, that is an alligator. Scout 210 Alpha.
Go ahead.
Yeah, there is actually an alligator outside of the hotel. I would bring your dog inside. There's an alligator over here.
I wanted to see him.
Elise, we'll start with you. What happens here is that the owner's taking a nap inside. The gator gets loose from the bed truck. Who's in charge? Do they charge this person?
This is insane. Absolutely, they should be charged. You let a vicious predator out on the road that's your pet? And in a state that you don't even belong to?
I mean, I think at worst it's probably negligence. Because and what he's supposed to, the guy is probably trying to sleep, right? You know, not trying to pull an all-nighter, driving to North Carolina. So they stop in Virginia. But then the gator can get out of the truck. Like, I got problems.
But isn't there supposed to be some kind of cage or transport cage? I mean, do these things just chew in the back of the truck?
I mean, I don't know if they make cages fit for this guy. This is a pretty long
I just feel like there needs to be a better way, because while sure he needs to sleep, like you can't be sleeping with a loose alligator. And like, what if like there was a kid at this motel like walking around, and now like I would be terrified. Like absolutely not. This is beyond negligence.
Who's this person walking next to the? Is this the?
This is what I wanted to point out. Yeah. This is some true Florida man energy in Virginia right here, because they were saying, I want to see the alligator, and the guy or whoever's walking beside the alligator with a trash bag right beside it, all that gator has to do is turn around and take a chomp out of the leg.
He's just taking it out for a walk.
What's he doing with the trash bag?
The owner is lucky that thing didn't bite anything, because that'd be additional charges.
Exactly.
You know, in addition to, I don't know what they'd be charged with.
It's got to be negligence, at least.
I don't know.
You would imagine.
That's some Gatorade right there.
Well, clearly, it doesn't seem like there's any charges, at least not right now, because they got a police escort out of the county. Let's check that Fox 5 Live Incident. Should the owner be charged for the alligator getting loose, or at least the person who was, the gator was in its custody? We'll put this up, we'll leave it up, and we'll check back in with the voting here. Scan that QR code, fox5dc.com.
Oh, no, someone says no. I'm going to go vote on this one. No, I'm going to throw this off.
No, somebody's got to be responsible for the gator.
Yeah, I'm going to get that QR code.
202-895-3200, fox5dc.com/Instapoll. All right, 202-895-3200. Call us. We're back after this quick break. Okay, so I'm here with Diva Chef, who should also be like fitness chef, because you got a mix of both. Like, you can't just...
Diva Chef is deliciousness in various assortments. One of them is fitness.
Oh, okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, well, speaking of, a floor host and actor Rob Lowe sharing insight into his fitness routine.
Okay.
He told People magazine in an exclusive interview that he doesn't listen to music while he works out. Lowe says when he's out running, he doesn't turn on the tunes, instead just listens to the wind, his feet, but he also adds he doesn't want anybody just sneaking up behind him. In fact, the only time he listens to music during a workout is if he's in the gym, for example, during like a long Peloton session. So he says that his go-to song, Eye of the Tiger.
I'm here for it.
There you go.
I think that's a good song. That's a good walkout song. So I gotta ask you, like, because you work out every single day, sometimes twice a day. What's like, are you pumping things in your ears? Do you need, what are you listening to?
I definitely need music. But I can understand liking the rhythmic sound of your feet and your breath when you're running. I could see that could be something that, you know, is good for training. But, like, I need music. I'm not worried about somebody running up on me, okay?
Because you're at the gym on the treadmill, right?
Yes, for the most part, or at my home gym, so I'm not worried about that.
Right. Okay, but you can't work out in silence?
I cannot work out in silence. Actually, actually, I'll go right home if I forgot my headphones because the gym to me is loud. I can't stand people grunting and slamming weights. It's irritating.
I can see that. If you're in company and you're like at a gym, you need like something to drown out that.
Yes, for sure.
I do think I also hear what Rob Lowe is saying. Like, I personally need something to get me motivated. So it needs to be music. But then after a while, I'm like, damn, these things are so loud. I can't even hear myself think.
Yeah.
And you start pulling out your headphones. And I do it often. I'll just pull them out. And for a couple miles, I'm listening to nothing.
Well, as a general rule, I think listening to nothing while working out is psychotic. However, if you are Rob Lowe, I understand somebody like seeing him across the gym being like, is that Rob Lowe at my Planet Fitness? And walking over and like trying to talk to him in the middle of the set. You don't want that.
Sure.
But I can't not listen to music because hearing my breath and hearing me run just reminds me of all of the anxiety that my workout is going through and all the exercises. And I'm like, how am I doing this right now? So I've got to be listening to something.
Yeah.
I think my go-to song, Hall of Fame.
Ooh, okay.
This
All
is
right.
some jams.
Yeah.
Yeah, for me, I can't get through any workout without like music. Actually, sometimes my workouts are around the song, so I'm like,
That
just
part.
get through the hook.
Yes.
Just get through the hook. We're almost done with this song.
And Peloton especially.
Yeah,
Like they have
whatever. It just kind of gets you going. When I don't listen to music, if it's off, now I'm thinking about my to-do list, what groceries I need to buy,
Yes.
like what I need to do, and I feel like it's more stressful. So something that takes me back, nostalgic, like 90s hip hop for me is like my jam. So yeah.
The only time I listen to the sound of silence is when I'm listening to the sound of silence.
I need it. Like, sometimes I drive in silence to work.
I do drive in silence. I think that's good.
In the morning when you were like in denial that you're alive at that particular hour, I understand
It's
that
true,
for
it's
sure.
true.
But
Yeah.
when the coffee hits, that's when the music starts.
Yeah. I mean, but also it depends. Like, if you got a really long run, like sometimes you're just like, get out of my ear. Stop yelling at me.
I
don't
hear
know.
that. I hear that.
Yeah.
for
Okay,
sure.
let's head to the hot seat here and check in with our executive producer, Jack. Jack, you like to do your long Sunday runs. You got something
My
in your...
Sunday runs.
Yeah.
Today it was Saturday runs, but I gotta be listening to something.
Yeah.
Gotta keep it going. Gotta
Yeah.
keep going. All right, we're talking about working out. We're talking about food. Okay, so I was craving. Yes, is it the middle of June? Yes, it is. But I was craving a little tomato soup today, and it got me thinking: is it okay? And do you believe in having weather-dependent food? Obviously, I'm having a little bit of a tomato soup today. It's raining outside. Is that okay? But it got me thinking: are you allowed to have iced coffee during the winter? Are you allowed to have soup when it's hot out? Are you allowed to have salad when it's cold out? Or is salad a more a summertime thing? So I want to know, are there food, or I should say weather-dependent foods? What are they, and is it allowed, or are there
Jack,
restrictions?
this is America. You can eat whatever you want,
I
whenever
like that.
you want.
I like that
You know,
take.
it's like Burger King. You can have it your way.
That's true. But whoever drinks iced coffee in the winter,
That's where I draw the line.
okay, thank you.
It's the second time you call me psychotic already,
I'm
Luke.
sorry.
Oh my God.
I heard that.
Get out of here.
I was going to get it out of the way. No.
Your time has come.
I'm surprised I stayed down this long, to be
Yeah, I am
honest
too
with you.
at this point.
I'm going to have psychotic hot takes.
Do you think that
You're
there's
welcome. You've been up there a while.
I feel like, the weather is so inconsistent here. That's the benefit of it. Hey, if you want a cold, rainy day, you got it, Jack. I think we got it for another
Good.
couple days. You want a hot day? It's coming up in 3 days. So, yeah, for me, the thing that stays consistent is ice
I
cream.
was going to say, Sherman, can you eat ice cream in December, January? Because I know you
I
can.
eat ice cream like year-round. It could be freezing out. But, yeah, definitely my coffee switch. So, cold day, I'm like warm, hot coffee. If it's
Sure.
cold day, warm, I'm like iced coffee all the way.
I made the switch back to hot today because
Oh,
I was
did you?
like,
Yes, I did too.
it's not like fitting.
I did
But
too,
I actually would, in your favor, say that ice cream is better consumed in the cold.
That's true.
Like in July, I don't want all that dairy sitting in my
guys are
stomach.
nuts.
Then I
Well,
get
it's
like
the dairy,
bubble
and then
guts,
it's even the melting. I just feel like it's messier too. You know what I mean with the ice cream.
Bubble guts
This
is
is
crazy.
always good.
But no, I think that's the beauty of living in the DMV is that you get all the weather here,
Right.
all the seasons in 1 week. It doesn't matter if it's summer, spring, or winter, so that you get to have that variety of food. So I'm here for it.
Girl, you're eating baked fish 12 months a year.
Right.
She is not having ice
Not
cream.
12 months a year. I will say there is somewhere you draw the line, and that's Thanksgiving food and Christmas food. I don't want macaroni and cheese, jams, green beans, tomatoes, and all that stuff year round. I want it like for the holiday
Just
season.
that one day.
Okay, North Carolina.
I'm not
I'm
eating
sorry,
that in
I'm
the
dying
summer.
up here. I had mac and cheese for breakfast this morning.
Oh, God.
Y'all are making me cold up here talking about ice cream in the winter and iced coffee in the snow.
Yeah.
You seem very regimented, Luke.
Yes.
You gotta.
I'm gonna step back a little
Outside the
further.
box.
It's too cold up there.
He's
I
in
love it.
timeout. Yeah, you stay in timeout.
All right, in the meantime, let's get back to our Fox 5 Insta poll here. All right, we're talking about this video that is just really taking the internet by storm. One of our top stories right now on fox5dc.com.
Okay.
Should the owner be charged for the alligator getting loose? Look at this, 70% of people saying yes, charge the owner, no, 30%. Listen, I do think we were kind of lucky in this situation, given that, okay, police were able to show up quickly for this 400-pound mammoth of an animal, right? But what if that didn't happen? Like, I do kind of feel like someone needs to be a little bit accountable here.
Well, so that it doesn't happen again, because
Right.
it seems like this is something that happens frequently, the transporting of animals.
Yeah.
And Florida man that was walking behind him, like, I need the story, with the trash bag, no shoes, just like walking the kid, like no big deal.
Like this is
Something.
not like a little chicken that you're like taking with you to go to take a nap.
Or even a monkey. We can normalize, even though you're not supposed to having a pet monkey, but a huge, muscular.
That thing's like a pterodactyl. Get out of here. A full-on dinosaur.
Insanity.
Crazy.
Okay, Jack,
Crazy.
thank you.
All right, see you guys.
Straight ahead. You're probably spending money you don't mean to spend somewhere. We'll tell you where Americans are wasting the most when we come back. All right, everybody likes to treat themselves every once and again, but can they also easily waste money on unnecessary purchases? Yes, thank you, Amazon. A new poll is showing the top 5 things that people waste the most money on, and according to Motley Fool Money, they include frequently eating out, impulse online shopping, buying snacks at convenience stores, throwing out leftovers or letting food expire, and paying for unused TV streaming services. Younger generations, they are far more likely to admit that they waste money, while just 1% of baby boomers say they waste money daily. That jumps to 6% of Gen Z, 7% of millennials. Shireen, we'll start with you. I mean, not to get into, I'm just reading the question, but I won't. Give me something that you think is wasteful.
You know, I think I get this from my dad.
Why are you blaming the dad now for this? You're an adult
Happy
woman.
Father's Day, Dad. No, but like little gadgets that help you do something, like always like get me, right? Like, oh, you know, you can electric this and like put your mugs here and it rotates, and like, oh, you know, you want to take some stuff up the stairs? Well, don't put it on the stairs, put it in these stair holder things. So I get like caught up in these kind of things because it's like on social media, they know you, right? They're like, oh, she likes these things. And so my algorithm, sometimes I'll get like stupid gadgets and Joe will be like, what is this? We don't need this. We don't need
$50
this.
later.
We don't need this to spin. I liked it the way it was.
Yeah.
So I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
For me, I'd say I'm guilty of like DoorDashing groceries. My husband was like, stop doing that. Just go to the store. But like, I'm all about convenience. If I can save myself time and it costs me $40 or $50 extra that I wouldn't spend normally on the market, because let's be honest, DoorDash makes its money by marking up the products that you buy online.
Right.
The grocery stores make their money by marking it up a few dollars a pound. But like, hey, it's saving me from going out in the rain to get it.
For sure.
Because sugar melts in water, you know what I'm saying?
Wow, I need to move in with Elise. I'm doing something wrong. Luke, is there something that, I mean, I'm sure you're the youngest one of all is here, so they're saying that Gen Z, that they're the most, I guess they're looking at their dollars, and we're not as much.
I don't know if Gen Z is looking at their dollars as much. I think they're signing up for subscriptions and then forgetting about them. And I'll tack on to the DoorDash thing. What I do that probably is the most bougie thing I can think of is I buy expensive water and I have it shipped to my front door. Like Topo Chico or Smart Water.
Is it in a plastic container?
No, glass.
Okay. Well, at least you're doing that right. Because I was going to come and be like, you get rid of that thing. It's in plastic.
Let me tell you what adds up, though, is these Easy Pass tolls. My gosh.
God, yes.
Good grief.
We'll be right back here on the Take It Tuesday with us. Unsuspecting tourists in Spain getting a little extra hydration on their recent travels. Producer Sophie here to explain this. This is kind of crazy, but go ahead, explain.
It's kind of wild, but it's interesting. So protesters actually used water guns against tourists in Barcelona and on the island of Mallorca on Sunday. Look at these pictures. They're squirting, like spritzing the tourists. The marches were part of a first coordinated effort by activists concerned with the downsides of over-tourism. So they're spritzing all these tourists that are visiting Barcelona, Mallorca. But Maria, we were talking about this morning. What would this look like in D.C.? Are you spritzing the 8th grade field trips on the National Mall? Are you hitting the tourists who are on the left side of the metro escalator? Like, what's your take on this? Who are you hitting with the water gun?
Nobody, because if somebody's hitting me, like there's gonna be fisticuffs. You know what I'm talking about?
And I feel like you can fight for them, Marina.
I mean, if I have got to, I would. I don't know. I mean, first of all, when you look at the pictures, like if you hear the story, it doesn't sound that bad, right? You're like, it's just a little water. But you look at their like just hate in their face when they're like pointing the gun, and it's almost like, do you all not travel? You don't go to Italy where it's like Disney World. There's people everywhere. You know, like your economy is based on tourism. Now I hear it. Places that have so many tourists, there are downsides to that. And I think we in DC can probably speak to that as well. But it also helps. There's so many positives. In America, that would be simple assault. That could be a potential charge, and I think it could stir up some, ugly things. I think in other places, not so much. But Luke, I'll start with you. I don't know. The faces that they had as they were squirting this gun was so vile.
Key. If I get squirted with a water gun by someone who's smiling at me, I'm still not going to be thrilled, but I'm also not going to shove them, right? But if someone's frowning at me and squirting me with a water pistol, first of all, I don't know what's in the water pistol.
Yeah,
is it water? Like, what's in there? So that's terrifying. And I'm sure there's little kids with their families on vacation. There's better ways to deal with this. Good grief.
But if I'm going to fight, I'm bringing Elise in with the fight with me.
Yes, me too.
Look, and I ain't fighting in another country and getting to go to jail with you.
I speak Espanol. I'll get you out. What do you think about this? I mean, what happens if you're down on the mall and someone thinks you're a tourist?
Yeah, that's terrible. That's definitely fighting words, fighting rules, and he's right. You don't even know what's in the gun. People are vicious out here. If you're looking at me and you're viciously squirting it, I'm automatically assuming it's pee.
Exactly. You're right. Like, why else would you do it with the water? It's almost like, okay, thanks for the hydration.
I think in this day and age, any gun pointed at you, even if it's green or pink, you're like, oh my God, you're terrified. From one perspective, you were like, is this a Barcelona tradition? Like they're welcoming us? And you're like,
you would think that they're welcoming.
Oh my God. But no, why aren't they squirting their city leaders? Like, they should be like literally holding protests for their city leaders and demanding change. Like, I get it. Tourism, fuels an economy. But at the same time, if rents are high, if they don't have this city or feel like they can't have this city, they gotta go take that up with their city leaders. No way.
They picked the wrong people. It's not the tourist's fault.
Yeah.
No. Okay.
And don't pick Marina because she says she's fighting.
I mean, if someone comes at me with that thing, I'm going to defend myself. All right, let's move on. How far would you go to get comfortable on a long flight? A travel influencer being slammed online for making a personal foot hammock. She tied two sides of a blanket to the tray table in front of her. Then, watch this, she makes a resting place for her feet. So, as you would imagine, I mean, this is nothing on how much she weighs or anything, but she's a grown woman. She's going to pull that seat in front of her based on weight. And that's going to be uncomfortable with the person in front of you. Is she being inconsiderate? Others saying this could damage the seat. Elise, I know you only fly private, but if you had to fly...
Private is crazy, but you better speak that into existence, girl.
But if you had to fly like our friend here, what would... I mean, are you looking at her like she's crazy?
I would be absolutely irritated. I really would. People need to get some consideration about themselves going and worry about other people as well and how their choices affect other people. This is a public space, and this is exactly why I fly private. Just kidding.
Because no one's messing around with her seat. I mean, I know we get into the same conversation of like, should you recline, should you not? My thought is the seat reclines, so therefore you can. Sure. Like, if you want to talk about whether you should or not, that's a different conversation. She's forcing this into existence so she can be, I can't imagine she's going to be doing this for 8 hours of the flight. That can't be comfortable either.
I'm not sure how it's affecting the person in the front. Like, maybe it's pulling, but maybe it's not. I don't know. Maybe she's, her feet are light. Who knows? But
would you say, Shirley, you need to try it. Let's send her on out there. Let's try it.
I will say I was guilty of this one time when I had Selma. She was really, really small, and the light in the airplane was not allowing her to sleep. And I literally made myself a little, tent. I, put, a blanket in the thing, and I attached it to my back, and I attached it over here, and then it became kind of dark. And I feel like the person sitting next to me, they understood the situation, and then Selma fell asleep.
But I think this is a little different. Like, the pulling of the body is like...
And this is her own, she just wanted her feet up, so it's not necessary.
Girl, you got 2 inches. Your legs are a couple feet at least,
People be doing the most.
All right, and it's all for TikTok and the Instagram. That's the problem. 202-895-3200. That's the number. Give us a call. Consider it, not consider it. Would you try it? Let us know. Straight ahead. How much does it cost to be a sports fan these days? We're breaking down those numbers when we come back. All right, if you're trying to catch a game this weekend, you're probably going to run into some major issues. Major sports leagues going all in on streaming and apparently driving people away from watching their teams altogether. The New York Times reporting that watching a game is more expensive than ever before, saying that in 2004, a hardcore fan would have spent about $1,300 to follow their team. Now that number is more than $4,700. The NBA, NFL, MLB all requiring a subscription. Catch a game services like ESPN Plus cost about $12 a month, while Fubo costs $95 a month. Shirin, do you want to...
Yeah, I'm going to buzz out on this one. Although my husband is very caught up in this, and he's
the
like,
money you're spending on gadgets, he's spending on these channels.
He's like, how am I supposed to have 7 subscriptions to just watch my games?
I might be right back up, depending on what sports fans think of my commentary here. So,
all right, what are you watching, Luke?
I'm not paying that much for sports. It goes back to what we were talking about with these subscriptions.
Yeah.
The cable bundle I thought was going to be like yesteryear, but they've just figured out a new way to charge us a ton of money by separating all of our favorite shows into these different subscriptions.
It's such a racket, because it used to be everybody cut the cord because it was cheaper to go to streaming.
Yeah.
But now these streaming services are so expensive. People are getting back on cable. And now, to your point, they have so many channels. I mean, it's like 5 channels per network. And if you want one game, or you know your team is going to be playing repeatedly, you know, a couple times, you're like, okay, doing the math, maybe it'll be worth it. Next thing you know, it's hundreds of dollars.
Yeah, I mean, normally I'd have to buzz myself out on this one as well.
Shirin did that for you. Thank you, Shirin.
But I can totally speak to this. We were season ticket holders. That payment was like having a house or a car.
I bet.
And it was great because we were in the front row and everybody could see my shoes and my outfits. And the food was pretty good. It was a great experience. I love watching it in person, basketball. But yeah, I could see how this could be something that costs a lot of money if you're an avid fan and you're really true to the sport.
You know what I enjoy is going to the Little League baseball games or the high school baseball games, the local stuff, because there's a lot of camaraderie and you just show up and everyone's really excited and into it. I like that. You don't have to pay anything.
That's a big deal in Texas. I feel like the rest of the country hasn't caught up to that Friday Night Lights kind. Some places in Virginia, but not as much. But Texas, that's a whole thing.
It's a big deal.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's right. I mean, and you're looking at like who's coming on the up and up, right? Like,
for sure.
Definitely going to see the future.
And then you can say, I saw them win.
Yeah.
They were in high school.
Exactly. All right, straight ahead, we're rewinding the tape. We'll hear from you after this quick break. All right, Monday, let's rewind the take to last week and check in with producer Sophie. Hey, Soph.
Hi. So one of the things we were talking about on Friday was that Friday marked a century of broadcasting live television. This inventor in D.C. in DuPont Circle brought everybody into his office to show off his radio vision, which was kind of the first time the public was able to see the beginnings of live TV. So I posed the question of what are some of your favorite moments from watching TV growing up, everything like that. A lot of people just said that they remember watching TV with their family and being gathered around. And that was especially evident for me. We watched the local news every single night growing up, and I think that probably sparked my career.
I was going to say, now I understand.
Yeah. Every night we had it on. But we got some calls. Take a listen to what they had to say.
Hi, guys. It's Charlie Mack. I'm watching the show as we speak, and I think the topic is who was your memory about TV, like the most, I guess, special memory about watching TV. For me, back in the day, my brother and I, we used to watch the WWF, the Wrestling Federation, when it used to come on Channel 5, and I remember Ric Flair, Hulk Hogan, Macho Man, Jake the Snake, all of those guys. I mean, I don't know if you remember it, probably not Marina, because I know I'm a lot older than you, but I remember that. And then, too, remember watching Soul Train when Soul Train came on Channel 4, NBC. And I remember Anita Baker being on Soul Train.
Do you remember the Maury Povich show, Charlie, here on Fox 5? That was right here on WTTG. Yeah, I mean, I think for so many people, before we talked about it a little bit with streaming, there's so many channels now, and there's so much offering. Half the time they're like, go to channel whatever. And I'm like, is that really a channel? And you work in television, you don't even know it exists.
I feel like what I do miss about, decades ago when we were watching TV, I feel like we used to do it around the family. Like we used to gather around and watch news. Like I'm an immigrant family. We immigrated here, and just watching the news was like an activity. Watching like Mr. Bean, I Love Lucy, like a lot of like these iconic shows we would do together as a family, where I feel like these days everyone's just on their phone or tablet.
Yeah, so appointment television, right?
Yes.
Everybody knew that at 9 p.m., like the big, I remember I was probably too young to be watching it, but my mom would watch Party of Five. That was like a big show.
Party of Five.
And Melrose Place. And then I would sit there. I had no idea what they were talking about or doing because they were certainly adult shows. But I was like, oh, I like what she's wearing.
Yeah.
Even back then. So I think to Sharin's point, it was different, right? I think now there's so much offering and we're on our cell phones. So our time is certainly divided. The pie is just as big. It's just cut into many more pieces.
Yeah, I just remember growing up like TGIF, where like on Fridays they had all the good, wholesome shows. You watch back to back. You look forward to that with your family. But then I also remember turning off the TV when MASH came on.
That's funny.
Oh,
we did the same thing.
It was like bedtime when MASH came on.
It was kind of like Adult Swim.
Music, it was like the in the bed, like, man.
Like it's bedtime now.
The bedtime theme song. Streaming came about toward the end of my middle school and beginning of high school. So my cable experience was rushing home and at 4 p.m. watching Arthur on PBS because we could get home just in time to watch Arthur.
Goosebumps.
Yeah, all of that stuff. So that, you know, I really didn't have any mainstay cable programs. It was all the kids stuff because that's what I remember growing up.
For me, it was coming home, but instead of watching Arthur, I was watching Ricky Lake and Oprah. My mom would be like, turn that off. What are you watching?
It makes so much sense now.
Look at where we are now. It doesn't make sense.
That makes so
you
much
get a car and you get
If we ever got real quiet in the other room, Mom would be like, they're watching something they're not supposed to be. Yes.
Oh my God, I loved Ricky Lake. Those were the days. And Oprah. 4 o'clock.
Remember Sally Jesse Raphael?
That she precedes me. Come on now. Did you hear Charlie? She said, I know you're too young for that. I'm kidding. No, but Jim would know all about it. All right, let's move on to today's take. Listen up, cereal lovers. Some of your favorite flavors may be disappearing from store shelves. General Mills reportedly is stopping manufacturing Honey Nut Cheerios, the Medley Crunch, chocolate peanut butter Cheerios, and Honey Nut Cheerio Minis. Honey Nut Cheerios Medley Crunch was introduced in 2013, the chocolate peanut butter Cheerios in 2017, and the Minis in 2023. Now, according to some studies, 12% of American households eat cereal daily. Luke, first question, do you still eat cereal?
No.
Have you ever consumed cereal? Were you a cereal consumer?
I was Honey Nut Cheerios, but I'm trying to remember these special brands. I've never heard of the Medley or the chocolate stuff. I would just go straight to chocolate for breakfast. I'd just go straight to the Hershey's bar. Skip the cereal where they're like trying to make it healthy. I just fully admitted, like, I'm not going to eat something healthy.
Is there anything discontinued that you'd like to see come back?
So the one thing that popped in my head that was big growing up that I actually didn't care for was, what was the hard candies in the chocolate Nestle balls? What were those called? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Candy?
It would be these hard candies in these little Nestle
Someone in the control room help me out because I'm lost here.
Somebody, maybe
Shereen,
one of the viewers, do you know what we're talking about?
I feel like I've seen it, Luke.
It was not that good.
I was going to say Warhead, but that doesn't have chocolate.
It was almost like Smarties and chocolate paired together, and they should never be paired together.
That sounds disgusting. That's why it was discontinued.
Discontinued, yes, exactly.
I've never heard of that, and I love chocolate.
Yeah,
were you a cereal eater?
When I was a little kid, but when you're a kid, you do kid things. Maybe that's why cereal is not really a thing anymore.
Have you seen these cereal aisles?
Yeah, ridiculous. A lot of choices, but no, in my household, cereal's a snack, not a meal. And my daughter likes Honey Nut Cheerios, but I can see why Frosted Mini Wheaties are gone. Like, people, who eats that?
Too much sugar. Too much sugar. Anything discontinued that you're like, it needs to come back?
Nah.
No, you're good?
Yeah.
She's like, I'm eating organic produce, y'all. That's not going away. I'm not eating any of that stuff.
I don't really eat that, so.
Sharon, anything you have nostalgia for that you wish would come back?
I mean, I think it's by my own doing that they've actually gone. I feel like I've just made them disappear in my head because the sugar content is so high. But like, I used to love cereal, Honey Bunches of Oats. Like,
oh yes, with the almonds.
It was delicious, right? But I felt like now that I'm a little bit more, into a little bit more nutrition, I'm like, oh, I can't do that to myself. So in my mind, they're discontinued.
Do you buy cereal still or no? Just because it's
Honey Nut Cheerios is the only one that I buy, but only because Selma likes it from time to time. But I try to stay away.
Yeah.
Google doesn't know what it is either.
No, I made that up.
You might
have made it up. Who knows?
If you know what that is, please call us 202-895-3200. Coming up tomorrow on the Ticket 2, what activity drains your battery the most? New research breaking down the biggest energy suckers for Americans. We'll have those results tomorrow. But we want to hear from you. Is there anything that makes you the most tired, that just like drains your battery? I feel like a lot of social events for people.
Yes.
You give a lot, And then, you know, then you for me, it's FOX5. I love you, FOX5. No, but it's true. I feel like it's for 2 hours. And then by the time that you get off air, I'm just like, okay, I need a break. I need because you need to sit with
you give it 110%.
You got to give it energy, and I think when you give that much energy, parties are like that. Then you come down and you're like, I need a whole. And at my age, you know, like a whole week to recover from something like that.
I've heard, because I'm an introvert actually, and I have to like force myself to really get out there. And the best way I've heard it described is that introverts wake up with like 5 energy coins, and every social interaction is giving away a coin, and then you're empty at the end of the day. But extroverts wake up with an empty bank, and every social interaction they gain a coin, and they add it, and they're excited at the end of the day. That's not me.
No.
I'm tired at the end of the day.
I like to sleep 9 hours, and when I give you my all, I got to sleep 12.
I'm actually an extroverted introvert. I found that out. I thought I was an extrovert until I found that, like, getting in certain social situations or just being someone who's in the fitness, right? You're giving away motivation. That's literally your job daily.
Right.
And I would find that, wow, I'm getting drained, or I'm drained this week after so many events. So I was like, oh, and I relish in my alone time. I don't know if that's something as I'm getting older, but I like to be alone a lot.
No, but you got to refill that energy, and maybe like for you, it's working out, right? That gives you more energy. No, that depletes
it used to, but before it became a career.
Yeah, once it becomes work, then it's like, it's
my
tough.
hobbies became my careers because I used to do a lot of.
So now you hate politics?
Well, yeah. To be honest, but here we are.
You got anything?
Yeah, I think I would agree with you, Marina. I think in our line of work, we have to give so much of ourselves and our energy all the time. You're always on. Another thing that drains me, but I love doing it, is like hosting parties because it's the lead up, right? It's like what you have to do. You have to preparations, this, that. You're so tired by the time the party comes, and by the time everyone leaves, you're like, but I still love to do it. So
yeah.
All right, let us know what you think. 202-895-3200. That's the hotline. What drains your battery the most, and how do you recharge? And I especially like to hear from the extroverts, like how that makes you even more energized. I think there's a lot of people, okay, if you're moving my prompter, leave me alone. All right, we're coming right back after this quick break here on FOX5 on the Ticket 2. Don't go anywhere. Oh, we got calls. That's why. Let's listen in.
King Willis, D.C. Like to comment on the alligator. You can't have an alligator running around. It's a civilization. Take them back to the ocean or wherever, back to the wildlife area. Thank you.
Hi, this is Lizzie Smith from Washington, D.C. I'm calling in reference to the email request for 5 things once a week. I used to be a federal government worker, and I just find it's unnecessary. It's bad enough that we are, being pressured, for so many things that's going on. Much less add this on to the task. So I totally disagree with that. And the way it's organized, it's just ridiculous. Thank you. Have a good day.
Okay, yeah. I mean, I think there's 2 sides to every story, and I hear the accountability check. I'm just not sure that an email was the way, and especially an email into the void.
No, I'm stuck on the alligator story. Talking about dropping back off at the ocean. I don't do alligators in the ocean, a body of water.
He's a house pet.
I was going to say, I don't think he would live at the ocean, but
no.
I hear you.
All right, let's check that FOX5 Live Inspel. Should the owner be charged for the alligator on the loose? 70% of you say yes. It means something for sure.
Yeah.
All right, let's scan that QR code, fox5dc.com/inspo. Okay, now we're going on a break. Don't go anywhere. Take it 2 back after this. Come on down, Sharon. All right, before we go, you'll see Diva Chef Elise again on Friday on Lion Lunch Hour. But I know you're up to all kinds of things and people want to follow you on social.
Yeah, Diva Chef 412 on the gram, EliseandHarris.com.
There you go. There's your Instagram. I know you've been all over the place, and you're almost at that competition, so you're about to do it.
Can't wait to eat cheeseburgers and fries.
We may give you like a Thanksgiving meal on that day when you're done.
Eat it right here on the tape.
Oh, okay. That may be the day that we celebrate, all of us together. Luke, I know you're out and about. You're talking politics. If people want to check in with you.
Just search Luke Ball. I'll be talking about politics and mac and cheese. No, I want some Thanksgiving food. I'm craving it. Oh, look, my Instagram.
You've got a lot going on.
There's my chickens and my wife.
Oh, there we go. Happy anniversary to both of you. Yeah. And Sharon?
Yes, we're working on a story, rain impacts for a lot of our beach communities. So we'll have that coming up later in the newscast.
Okay.
Okay, I thought you were going to say how they can't drive in the rain here.
No, that's a take. 202-895-3200. That's a take.